Many news channel flashes and talks about recession and so does even many economists. आप बहुत सारे यूट्यूबर्स को भी देखोगे, everyone is talking about recession. But कोई ये टॉपिक नहीं कवर कर रहा डिटेल में exactly what are the points that you need to consider and analyze when it comes to predicting the recession and understanding the recession. So आज के वीडियो में मैं इसी के ऊपर बात करने वाला हूँ where I'm going to talk about 3 important factors and points that you need to consider when analyzing any recession. We will see in detail how to utilize these points in understanding the recession. Coming to the most interesting point of this video, how to analyze and predict recession. So there are 3 important points while understanding and predicting recession, and you should have a complete know-how about it. Well, before we move on, if you're liking this video till here, please subscribe this channel, and if learning is a primary motto of yours, then do consider subscribing it, because I will be making many more videos, and in my every video I would be focusing upon what are the learnings and takeaways that you can have. काफ़ी सारे न्यूज़ चैनल्स है, काफ़ी सारे मीडिया चैनल्स है जहाँ पे आप न्यूज़ मीडिया इंफॉर्मेशन को आप गैदर कर सकते हो, बट देर इज़ नो पॉइंट on gathering that information and going through it if you cannot take away the learnings in your life, because those learnings are the one which you could actually apply and grow. So with that being said, let's start with the 3 pointers. The first one is GDP, second one is unemployment, and the third one is inflation. We will talk about each of this. In talking on the GDP part, you will notice that many news houses publish about different articles relating and resonating towards GDP. Such as the one you can see over here, an article from CNBC which says RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das is optimistic towards the GDP growth of 6.5% in this year. Indian economy to be $5 trillion economy, which means that the India's GDP production, the GDP output will be worth $5 trillion by the year 2029. The Business Standard article talking about a contribution of India's GDP in the overall global GDP. India versus China, the race of GDP. So you will see this article of GDP in each and every news channels, in each and every newspaper. Let's try to understand the GDP at first. एक बहुत ही simple example देता हूँ आपको इस चीज़ का. Let's say you are a family of 4-5 people. You have a parents, brother, sister, and maybe if you are married, you have a child. So everyone in the house works. Everyone is employed. Everyone has their own business and work lifestyle. So आपके फैमिली की टोटल इनकम इन दिस एंटायर मंथ और इन दिस एंटायर ईयर जो भी है वो आपके फैमिली की एक पर्सनल जीडीपी है. सो वॉट एवर इज द फाइनल इनकम दैट यू वुड अर्न एज अ फैमिली कलेक्टिवली इन द एंटायर ईयर, दैट्स द जीडीपी आउटपुट ऑफ योर ओन फैमिली. सो इफ यू टेक दिस एग्जाम्पल, सेम एग्जाम्पल एट अ नेशनल लेवल, इंडिया एज अ नेशन में जितना भी प्रोडक्शन होता है इन वन फाइनेंशियल ईयर विद इन द बाउंड्री ऑफ इंडियाज जियोग्राफी एंड एज वेल एज इकोनॉमिक बाउंड्री, उसका जो आउटपुट प्रोडक्शन है उसको जीडीपी कहा जाता है, ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट. दैट्स अ सिंपल डेफिनेशन ऑफ जीडीपी. सो वॉट एवर इज योर फैमिली इनकम नाउ फॉर दिस एंटायर ईयर, दैट शोज द इकोनॉमिक परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ एवरी वन फ्रॉम योर फैमिली. Likewise, if you look at a national level, the economic performance of everyone in the nation explains GDP. Over and above, let's say next year your family's income increases by 6%. That means we will say that your family has been economically high performing family. Why? Because you have seen a growth of 6%, 5 or 6% in this next 1 year period. So at a national level, whenever the overall production, the overall earning of the nation increases, not earning explicitly, I would say earning is a revenue to the government, but the overall GDP of the nation increases, that means we will say that economy is stable. ये जो GDP growth है वो बाहर के कंट्रीज के लिए ये एक बहुत ही पॉजिटिव पॉइंट है, बिकॉज वो इस तरह से देखते हैं एट अ नेशनल लेवल दैट India is able to produce more. That means India's workforce is strengthening. India's overall production is in strengthening. India as a nation is growing, which also means that कि India में उतनी consumption capacity है जो हम 2000 period में consume करते थे, और आज जो India का consumption है that is totally different, because of which we say that India is a developing country, because India का consumption बहुत ज़्यादा है, and because of heavy consumption and that means heavy demand, India GDP is expected to go further beyond this level. Internationally, high GDP is always seen as a good sign. Why? Because it shows the economic strength, the economic performance, and the economic stability overall. It also shows that the consumption of that nation is very high. That's why any country which is in a developing state, which is in a growing state, you will see the GDP grows and every other nation starts investing in that country. Here is a chart of India's GDP. In the last 4-5 years period, we have seen that decline, which was primarily because of the COVID crisis which the nation has seen. वेल मूविंग ऑन, मैं इस वीडियो का और जीडीपी के ऊपर बहुत ही डिटेल में एक वीडियो बनाऊंगा. सो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल वेयर आई विल एक्सप्लिसिटली टॉक अबाउट only GDP. This video is mainly to focus upon what are the three things that you need to consider when assessing a recession. So let's move on to the second point, which is unemployment. Even for this, you will notice and come across many news articles which flashes about the unemployment rate in India, unemployment rate with respect to the labor workforce, how is it going? Well, but इस बैरोमीटर का अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का एक ड्रॉबैक है. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रिसेशन को प्रेडिक्ट नहीं करता है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रिसेशन के स्टेटस को बताता है. What do I mean is it is a lagging indicator. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रिसेशन आने के पहले नहीं होता, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रिसेशन के बाद का रिजल्ट होता है. सो इन सिंपल टर्म्स कि अगर रिसेशन है, ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी में मनी क्रंच है, ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी का जीडीपी आउटपुट जो हमने देखा भी रिसेंटली, समझा भी रिसेंटली, वो डिक्लाइन हो चुका है. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस the companies start to unemploying their people. So unemployment percentage is simply a percentage of the total labor workforce who are not being employed at current point in time. Here there is one concept that you need to know about unemployment which is called as 1:100. Now understand that एक इकोनॉमी में सबसे ज़्यादा ड्राइविंग फोर्स होता है द कंपनीज विच आर रनिंग इन दैट कंट्री. कोई भी कंट्री को ले लो, the people who are working, everyone is working for a company. Either it is your own company or you're working for some other company or you're working for government organizations and companies of the government. But you're working for a company. That means any company if it is impacted due to any external factor, oil recession हो गया, trade deficit के कारण हुआ, shortage हुआ, ओवरऑल चिप शॉर्टेज रिसेंटली हुआ था, इसके कारण इस कंपनी को काफ़ी सारे लोगों को अनएम्प्लॉय करना पड़ता है. सो कंपनी के ओनर भले ही फ्यू होंगे, देर वुड बी 5 डिफरेंट डायरेक्टर्स, 5 बोर्ड मेंबर्स इन अ प्राइवेट कंपनी, बट देर आर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ पीपल हु आर एम्प्लॉयड इन दैट कंपनी. सो इफ दैट कंपनी गोज इन टू ट्रबल, देर आर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ पीपल हु गो इन टू अ ट्रबल. दैट्स वाई इकोनॉमी में जब भी किसी कंपनी के ऊपर की डिपेंडेंसी आती है, इट बिकम्स अ रिस्क अवर्स सिचुएशन. वाई? बिकॉज if any company suffers, there are thousands and hundreds of people who suffer as a cascading impact to it. Here is a chart of the unemployment rate for the month of January, February and March in the year of 2023, where you can see there was an increase in the unemployment rate from 7.1% to 7.5 to 7.8%. That means during that time, overall businesses were suffering and businesses had to unemploy the people who are working with them. But there is one more insight to draw further from this information, which is where is the maximum workforce currently working into, in which sector, in which services are they working. हम सिर्फ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट को लेकर जज नहीं कर सकते कि 7.8 अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है, दैट मीन्स इट्स अ पुअर स्टेट. मे बी द मैक्सिमम परसेंटेज ऑफ दोज पीपल वर फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर. सो इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि इंडिया का करंट वर्कफोर्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है क्या. फॉर दैट लेट मी टेक यू टू दिस चार्ट. सो इफ यू आर वॉचिंग माई वीडियो टिल हियर, दिस विल बी अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग इन्फॉर्मेशन फॉर यू. सो इफ यू सी दिस, इट टेल्स अस दैट the distribution of the workforce across different economic sectors in India. This clearly highlights that 50% of the Indian workforce are deployed in those two sectors which we saw earlier were the primary sector in terms of GDP contribution. That means out of 100, 50 people are working in industry and services sector, and this 50 people are contributing 50% of the overall production. Now further, if I add on to this same data agricultural sector as well, the interpretation of this information completely changes, which says that 43% means 44% of the people are working in agricultural sector. Agricultural sector contributed only 18%. That means अगर 100 लोग काम कर रहे हैं, उसमें से 44 लोग एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में काम कर रहे हैं और वो 44 लोग सिर्फ 18% कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं. बाकी के 50 लोग मेजर चंक है जो कि ज्यादा कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं ओवरऑल इन द जीडीपी ऑफ द इकोनॉमी. दैट वाई इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू असेस एंड अंडरस्टैंड द मेट्रिक. व्हेन आई से देयर इज एन अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, द अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इज फ्रॉम विच सेक्टर इज द क्वेश्चन दैट यू शुड आस्क टू एनीवन. The next one is inflation, which is nothing but the महंगाई in the overall economy, overall market. कितनी चीजें महंगी हो चुकी है, that's called as inflation. Well, before understanding inflation, if you are my follower, then there is something else that you should know beyond this inflation. Inflation ये अच्छा है, समझने के लिए अच्छा है, but inflation is a result of something else. What is that something else? Is called as CPI, Consumer Price Index. इंडिया गवर्नमेंट में एक डिपार्टमेंट है called as Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The purpose of this department is mainly to track upon the prices of the essential goods and services in the overall market. So what their team member does is they visit different markets of India overall and try to assess the prices and the movement of the prices month over month. So they keeps a track of the movement in the prices, whether it is increasing or decreasing for these products, and these products are further bucketed into 8 major categories, which you can see over here, such as for food and beverages, housing, apparel, transportation, education and communication, recreation, medical care, other goods and services. So they keep a track and you have a complete access of this information is what I'm going to show you here. Here I have pulled out some government data for you to give you some insights on the CPI information. Now this might look a little technical and complex, but you need not really delve into it. At the end, what we track is inflation. This is simply to help you out that this data is available and what sort of information you can find with this government reports to you. Such as, so you can see this data is mainly taken for the month of May. So the team goes and tracks and gets the prices of the products by different regions. So the regions that they have is, one is a rural region, second one urban, and they show you a combined data of rural plus urban combined into one statistics. So let's take a look at some of this information that they have presented to us. At first, they will give you a monthly information where it will highlight the inflation, which is nothing but the CPI information for the month of April. Now, this is a provision data because this was published in the month of May. That means they have already surpassed the month of April. That's why they are giving you a provisional data over here. The final data of March is what is being available. So in the month of May also, even if they have to give you a final data, they will wait on another year in order to present you this information. So that they are giving you a rural, urban and as well as a combined weightage of the CPI number. The interesting point comes when you look at the further insights of this one, where they will categorize the product into different subcategories such as for cereals and pulses, meats, fish, milk, fruits, vegetables, and give its own weightages. So here it will tell you that in the month of March, the overall average price of all the cereals that they have considered inside this bucket was 174, whereas in the month of April, it is going to be 173. That means the consumer price index for cereals and pulses are going to be declined in this 1 month of time frame. That means whatever dal, rice, cereals and pulses that you are buying, that you will find it little cheaper in the month of April. Further, if you go down, they will also reveal you these informations by states. So let me know in the comment below which state you belong, and I'll ask you one more interesting question. आप कभी भी कोई चीज़ लेने जाते हो तो सबसे पहले कौन सी चीज़ आपको महंगी लगती है? So you can see this here. They are giving you the weightages and the contribution of these products by different state. So Andhra Pradesh में currently उनका inflation index, the CPI index, what is it stating? Likewise in Assam, Arunachal, Goa, Delhi, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and whatnot. So they will give you this state-wise data as well. In summary, these are the 3 things that you need to consider and keep a track of when you want to assess upon the recession, which is, I'll just narrate it quickly for you, the GDP, unemployment and inflation. If you are watching video till here, then there is one more 4th thing which is called as a recession probability index. I will make a separate video for that. Let me know in the comment below if you would be interested to know about it. If you have liked this information and content and want more of it, then subscribe my channel. Let me know what is it that you would like to know about. I would be more than interested to gather some more insights and bring it to you. Also, if learning is your foremost priority and you think that is the only way one can really grow and become rich and be a very wise investor, then follow me. This is Ajinkya. See you in the next video. Good luck.